I've been seeing Danny getting some flack online going back to the opening scene of last week's episode during the birthday brunch for Sabrina when Danny mentioned, well, actually, Karen was the one bringing up the whole DNA thing, and Danny just so casually said, well, is it that bad for them to want to know? I mean, for you to just take the test? And then I saw a few comments like, you know what? I just really stopped liking Danny during the get together at Jordan's last season where she wanted to expose Gary, but that just led to so much, pain for like Penelope and embarrassment for Andy and whatnot. And honestly, I get it. Don't get me wrong. I've said on many platforms multiple times throughout the series when I couldn't stand Danny. Now, is it within her character to be the one to run her mouth about other people's business, even though it's very hypocritical for her to do so because she wants to always throw stones, yet she's standing in a glass house? Why do you feel comfortable exposing someone else's wrongdoings in their own relationships or personal love life when your love life is in shambles? I mean, you literally have a boyfriend that you got high the night before at your apartment. And instead of going to check on your man, not even going there to change clothes before this party, you get dressed at Sabrina's because you don't want to talk to Preston because you're going out on this triple date with another man. Yet you have the audacity to want to call out Gary for, playing your girl. And it's just stupid because your girl was the one that involved herself with the married man to begin with. And then, I mean, for me, one of my potentially still to this day, my least favorite finale, season 2, at the grocery store when she aired out everything involving, oh, Zach had sex with Karen and now he's over here with Fatima. And I'm like, and then from there, she's going to beat him with Preston's belt so he would leave her apartment despite the fact that he had not been there for that long and he chipped in on the rent so he could stay for a month. And I'm like, Danny is just a mess. Now, it just sucks, though. I hate it when the script requires a character to just be incredibly annoying by being at their worst. And it's like basically their worst character traits are on display. Kind of like, in earlier seasons, whenever Sabrina would either get a little high or have a bit too much to drink, and she'll just start airing out everybody's business. Either something that Danny told her in confidence, or remember like the string of episodes where she would always tell the girls about Zach's financial come up, and it's like he is a bank customer and you're literally rattling off a list of his financial, ups that would get you fired because that's confidential information. So it sucks that Danny is the scapegoat because, I mean, like her giving, Zach the advice of getting the DNA test. I mean, it's like, there she goes again. You could argue that it's up there on the same level of intrusiveness as when she exposed Gary in front of everybody. It's like, hey, this whole DNA test, the baby has nothing to do with you. And here you are filling Zach's head with this, I'm not even going to say nonsense, but these ideas, things that he should have known already. And now that started trouble at the salon, and that's why Karen found herself in the situation she's in now by being backed into a corner about a DNA test. And then for her, of all people, to say, well, I mean, is it really that bad for her to have a DNA test? And, it's kind of like, wow, Danny, wow. So Danny does talk too much at times, but it's funny to me because, like I said before, when the season first started and people had issues with episode 1, it's like, a lot of the same people complaining about Tyler needing to get new writers for years were some of the loudest voices online complaining about season 7 and the new writers. But it's also just, it's crazy. Some of the same people who said, no, I want a friend. Everybody needs a friend like Danny. And no, she has every right to expose Gary. Has every right to expose Gary. And some of those same people like, oh, she's just a bad friend. She needs to mind her business. It's crazy that Danny, of all people, would be running her mouth or her love life. It is the way it is. I'm like, wow. So again, it all comes down to character bias. And when a character that a person disliked is being roasted and being exposed, it's all well and good. Like if Danni, in the case of Gary, yeah, you know what? Yeah, expose him, roast him, whatever. But for her to do that to Karen, it's like, oh, she's a backstabber, a bad friend. And I want to do a separate video because some people have kept talking about how the girls in general are bad friends because they invited Fatima to brunch when Karen had already said no. I mean, what the heck? All right. So with that being said, how do you feel about Danni? Do you think she runs her mouth too much? Do you think it was out of her place to talk to Zach about the DNA stuff, even though he was the one that came to her for the advice in the first place? So, But with that being said, like and subscribe, and I'll catch you in the next video.